Hello and welcome to Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and somehow it is December. Christmas is just a few weeks away. So we thought, you know what? Why not discuss some last minute Christmas gifts for that pop culture loving geek in your family?
Yeah. So I don't know if it was intentional, but we kind of got these split up into uh categories because we've got like games, but not like video games, more like card.
Board games, card games, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Then we've got your trades, the best way to read stories, figures. Um, I don't know what to call these, but like expanded material, I guess.
I like guidebooks.
Guidebooks, yeah.
I'm a big fan of like character encyclopedias and stuff, and so
Mm,
things like that.
yeah. And then why is Lego this expensive?
Lord,
Sorry.
it is. Yeah.
Speaking of card games, did you see what they announced 2 days ago? Riot announced something called Project K. They are making a collectible trading card game for League of Legends.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not like Legends of Runeterra. It's not like one of those like phone card games. Like it's legit like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering. Like you open packs and it looks pretty cool. Like if anything, just for the art, you know.
Yeah. Those card games are. I try to avoid them because they get very expensive very quickly.
Oh yeah.
I did buy for the family a Disney Larkana for Christmas because
Mhm.
it was on sale on Black Friday at Target. And then I was like, oh, I'll go buy some booster packs. They're like $6 for like 10
Oh yeah.
cards. And I'm
Yep.
just like,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's, we're going to try it and see. It might, my kids may not care or they might get
I
hooked. Who knows?
I have a lot of friends who I never got into it, but I have a lot of friends who play Lorcana. Like
Uh-huh.
they go to card shops and play it, and they seem to really like it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I got that. Then I also got that game, Hit Each Other with Fake Swords or whatever
Oh,
it's called.
right.
So either way, there's going to be violence
Mhm.
this Christmas. So.
Well, let's go ahead and I suppose get started with. Um, the way I have it set up is we've got yours in each category first, and then mine. So we're going to start off with yours,
Okay.
um, and I think in a way it's kind of from least expensive to most expensive, but not exactly. Whenever I added mine in, um,
Sure. Yeah.
but we have.
Yeah, and some of these are like
No.
kind of budget, and then some of these are really expensive. So we're kind of
Yeah,
all over the place.
yeah.
But
So help me out with this. I had never heard of this.
I am really tempted to pick this up. I've seen this at Target. It's
Hmm.
basically Uno if you want to start fights with your friends. you,
Isn't that just Uno?
yeah, but this is like vicious Uno, where it's like, oh, you have a +4. Well, here's a +10.
Plus 10. I see a reverse +4.
Yeah, yeah, just really mean Uno, and I don't even know how this game would end. Like, I just figured like it would just be constant. Like, here, pick up 20 cards, loser. Um, they also have a game called Dose, which is a sequel to Uno. I don't know what that's all about, but that's
I've
also
I've heard of that one.
yeah,
I don't know what that entails.
yeah,
I assume if you have two cards, you have to say dose.
yeah. But I know a lot of people love Uno, and it gets quite competitive. So I think this is pretty funny.
Yeah,
So I might be
like
checking this one out.
like imagine Mario Kart, but it's all lightning bolts, red shells, blue shells, the crazy eight, like just take out the normal stuff and it's just like the toxic stuff.
I picture like going to a nursing home and just dropping this on the table. They come back like 30 minutes later. It's just chaos.
Oh man, mom calls bingo where Mama stays, and they get competitive there with just
Oh
with
yeah,
bingo.
yeah, yeah. So if you're looking for, if I know Uno's extremely popular, so I think this would be a really fun game to
Hmm.
spice things up. So
Yeah. So for me, I guess this one's kind of on the more expensive side. Um, but I guess the source books are expensive, but honestly, the information that comes out of the source books are not. So just in general, like Dungeons and Dragons stuff, like you can get someone some dice, you can find them a D&D mini. Getting someone started on Dungeons and Dragons is not expensive. Um, as long as your dungeon master at least knows the rules.
mhm.
And so if you're a dungeon master, these are the new rules for the 2024. Essentially, fifth edition dates all the way back to 2014, and so for it's not exactly a sixth edition, so it's like a 5.5, and it's just the 2024 edition. These just came out this year. Um, and so yeah, this should hold you over. They'll add more source books, of course, but this should hold you over for the next 10 years or so, as far as D&D goes.
Yeah. This was always taboo for me when I was a kid. The forbidden game that I wasn't allowed to play, but I've always wanted to play it. And now I don't have time or the group of friends around me to
Hmm.
play it. So,
Yeah.
but it's something I've always wanted to get into. And there's variations that are very similar. They're not Dungeons and Dragons. I know
Hmm.
that DC Comics I think they're doing a Kickstarter right now to reprint theirs from the 80s and 70s
Yep.
and 80s.
Hmm. Cyberpunk started off as one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, um, yeah. So you said these are brand new editions of
Yep.
these.
Yep, these are the
Cool.
2024 editions. So
Nice.
I think these can run anywhere between $30 to $50 per book. But
Hmm.
like I said, the information in here um, you can kind of find anywhere. Um, and then as far as like just getting started with D&D, dice are maybe $6. A mini can be like $10, and then you can just print off a character sheet, no problem. D&D at this point, the game itself is the most accessible it's ever been. It really is just time and an actual group of friends getting together. So that at that point, that's the only barrier to entry, is just the actual social part about it.
And who knows? Elon Musk might buy Dungeons and Dragons next year. This might be more popular than ever.
I have heard that. I've heard that. I think that's really funny, especially because did you see that he's also the number one ranked player on Diablo 4?
I have not seen that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like he is the number one ranked player in the world on Diablo 4, and it's
he
so.
uh, he famously had Amber Heard dressed as one of the characters from Overwatch, so this does not surprise me at all. So,
But yeah, so that kind of closes out stuff for tabletop. I think next up we have the best way to read stories. This year, well, not this year, but next year, 2025, we are gonna kind of get back to our roots. It's and actually start reading comic books and discussing comic books again. It's something that we just haven't done in quite some time, other
and
than Bone.
it's our passion.
Yeah,
So it's what we really like to do, even if
yeah.
you know viewers be darned. It's what we're gonna do.
Uh, it's how this started, because really this was just us. If I recall, it was just us out Christmas one time discussing Hickman's X-Men whenever he was still going.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we should just talk about this and put it on the internet.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And we got
And
we
then
got some big plans. I'm already diving deep into Marvel Unlimited. So
mm,
yeah,
yeah,
it'll be a
and
nice one.
yeah, and then I still need to get it, but I'm not on a super time crunch for this one because it's not a Black Friday sale. It's just like a special that they have
Hmm.
with a code. But I'm seeing about getting a year of DC Unlimited, DC Infinite, so that way we'll have equal amounts of Marvel and DC on here.
Yep.
But speaking of DC, your first one are the DC Compact list, Compact Comics.
Yeah, these are great. They are smaller editions of classic DC stories, but they're only $10 a pop. So if you're trying to get someone into comic books, these are perfect.
Yeah, yeah, and these are maybe about the size of a pocketbook, maybe.
They're kind of the size of the Bone books, a little thicker, or
Yeah,
like the Runaways books, or
kind of
uh,
manga sized.
yeah, manga size would be good. When I was a kid, they were like the Archie Digest. You would see at the WalMarts, a little bigger than that, but um, yeah, but these are some of the best DC stories, and there's new ones coming out every month. So they just started this. And like All Star Superman's like one of the greatest Superman stories. You get for $10. That's awesome.
You know what is really weird? I love Scott Snyder and I love Stephen King. I've never heard of American Vampire, and I'm a DC guy. I don't know what this is, but just looking at it, I want to read it.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. Definitely, I've never read it, but I definitely am aware of it. Like I haven't read Court of Owls. So if I don't get it from the library, I will probably be picking this up.
Mhm.
One of the
Yep,
two. I'll be reading it sometime this year.
yep. Well, and that's I think that at least on our list, because I know you said that like we're going to be doing more reading and watching. I redid the list and took some stuff off because it's like, oh, we need to like we need to make this list more compact. I think the first thing I put on the reading list was Court of Owls.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned Bone. We got
Yeah.
this complete epic collection in one volume. What was it? 9 books that we read this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all in one volume. I mean, this is like a little phone book. These are you can find if you don't get the phone book, get the individual volumes. They're still pretty easy to find. If you
Mhm.
I was at Half Price Books the other day, and there was a whole stack of them. So
Does it is this only the 9 main books?
yes, it doesn't have. Was it Rose? Was that the other one?
There was Rose, and then there was something else we didn't read, but it had to
The
do with
stupid rat tail
yep,
creatures or
yeah,
whatever.
the stupid rat tails. That's what it was. Yep.
Yeah. Um, but the main story, uh, again, this is I prefer it in the individual volumes, but this is also available. I know that they first printed this in black and white, and then later in color, the one volume edition. But these are out there, and I figured, hey, we talked about this year. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a great
Cap.
gift.
Yeah. Cap it off. Yeah. Um. So going back to DC, this one's mine. So your DC Compact, that's like your entry level. Um, $10, you're good to go. DC has started coming out with these DC Finest. If you're familiar with the Marvel Epic collections, um, it's basically that. Um, but with DC, and they are split up a little bit differently. I correct me if I'm wrong. I think that DC adopted like the 4 to 6 issue storylines a lot quicker than Marvel did. And so we can go back to the 80s, and you got year 1 and year 2 both being 4 issues long, You put them together, you got an 8-issue DC Finest. Um, let's see what else is there. There's, I think Judas Contract is one of them too.
Yeah, they. I remember when I first started reading comic books, like during the Death of Superman era, they would have numbers on the different Superman titles to let you know which order they went in, all the different
Hmm.
titles. So yeah, I could definitely see them collecting runs like that and just putting them all in one book. Um, I meant to put this on the list. So I'm glad you did.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, these are definitely on my radar. I'm a big fan of Marvel Epics, and just to have like, I don't know if they'll be. Sometimes they'll be complete runs or like the first chunk of a run, but these are great. A great way to
Yeah,
read these.
yeah. So I think that the way Epic, I think these are going to work a little different from Epics because I think these will just be like major storylines. Um, rather than like the runs themselves. Because like I'm just looking at the list right now. You've got like they're doing the 0 Hour in 2 parts. Green Arrow's got the Longbow Hunters, which if you're a Green Arrow fan, you haven't read Longbow Hunters, you should do that. That's where the first 2 seasons of Arrow really come from is Longbow Hunters.
Yeah, I know they've got like one for like Superman's early adventures, like the first stories. So yeah, I
Hmm.
think it's gonna be a mix. I think there will be some that will just be like, here's this era of Superman.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, Suicide Squad's got Trial by Fire, which is the first 10 issues. Cool,
and
cool.
and again, this just started. So if you're trying to get on the ground floor, this is the time.
Yeah, I would love to, get into epics, but at this point, you basically just got to choose one character and try to catch up.
Yeah. There's hundreds of epics. So
I've considered 2 characters as far as epics go, either Daredevil or Ghost Rider. Um, Good chance it's going to be neither, but I can talk about it. It'll be one of those things that I'm always talking about that I'm going to get into, and then I never do.
yeah, there's some Marvel titles they haven't done epics of yet. Like they haven't touched Spectacular Spider-Man yet. So eventually
Mhm.
they will, and then once that happens, that would then you could like jump it on the ground floor. But
Yeah.
if you look around, every once in a while someone will be like, "I'm out," and they're selling their epic collections and stuff or runs and stuff. So you can, if you pay attention, I mean they are still pricey, but you can buy someone's collection for pretty cheap.
Yeah. Right, so that is the best ways to get into reading comic books. And I suppose we can go ahead and put epic collections on here, but epics have been around for a long time. DC Finest, these are new this year, um, so that's why they're kind of in the spotlight. But epics could go in this category as well.
And epics are not just superheroes. They're doing stuff like Predator and Aliens and Planet of the Apes.
I have so many Star Wars epics. I have more Star Wars epics than anything.
Yeah, and if I have a bunch of Star Wars epics, but only because I found them at Ollie's for like dirt cheap. So if you pay attention to Ollie's every once in a while, they will drop omnibuses and epics in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So next up, I think is figures. I hadn't seen this one. It's kind of dope. Um, this is the one that you were talking about, right?
There's a whole. I just picked a random one. There's a whole set of these McFarlane statues that they have like at Target. If you go down the toy aisle,
Okay.
I can't remember if they're like 40 or 50. I mean, they're pricey.
When I googled this one, it was more expensive than that.
Yeah, but I mean, they have like those classic. A lot of them are classic McFarlane, like Spider-Man covers that they've done as a statue, or Captain America, Venom.
Did he draw this Hulk?
This is a McFarlane cover. Yeah,
Okay, I don't know that.
this is Peter David and Todd McFarlane classic. Yeah, which they recreated in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Speaking of which, we got my mom to watch it, and I think she's embarrassed of how much she laughed.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. But yeah, these are great, and this is another line that just started. I'm sure these will start getting hard to find, next year or whatever.
Now, these aren't figures; these are statues, right?
These
Like,
are statues. Yeah.
gotcha.
But
Uh,
they've got some really cool ones, like protesters yelling at Spider-Man and him like swinging over the top of them and stuff, and really cool stuff. So
okay, cool, cool. Well, mine, I decided to shoot for the moon, get real
yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
Um, so they got these League of Legends ones.
Don't show me this. I've already asked for too much from Say It to stop.
So here's the thing: these are actually two separate statues that you can connect together.
Right?
Uh, they're both about 250 each, so don't
Yeah,
worry about
yeah.
it.
Okay. You say that there was some turtles I wanted that were $150. So yeah,
Um, but yeah, mo- I got into to I've played Valorant since the beginning. I never really got into League, but I've been playing Valorant since the beginning. So I do love Riot. And then whenever Arcane, started coming out, I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Then I dropped off, and now that Arcane is back, now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna actually try League of Legends now. And so I saw this on their merch website, and I'm like,
hmm
yeah, this is kind of dope. In fact, they just they have like so much merch for like their esports or they have like Valorant action figures, kind of like Marvel Legends, but with their characters. Um, and I guess that we're getting card games pretty soon.
yeah. And
Uh,
we didn't say what this is. This is Jinx and Vi from Arcane.
oh yeah, right, yeah.
We're just talking like everybody knows what this is.
Well, you know what?
I mean,
If
we
you're
did several shows about it, but yes.
Here's the thing: if you're here, you've seen our Arcane videos because that's where all of our views come from.
Yeah.
um, um, but yeah, so yeah, this Jinx and Vi. But important note: this is not Arcane. This is their League of Legends costumes. So you see that Vi has a little bit more armor going on. Jinx has a little bit less going on.
Right.
So, yeah. So,
I
if,
swear, when I was a kid, I had a GI Joe bad guy that had a rocket launcher like that, shark rocket
with the
launcher.
shark,
I'm sure I've gotten a toy box somewhere.
I don't know why we need to like figure out how to use that as branding. Just Jinx's shark rocket launcher.
There you go.
But yeah, so these are for your the McFarlane the $500 League of Legends ones. These are for your let's say that this is for that special someone who's also a geek. um,
Sure. Yeah.
uh, Instead of an engagement ring, get them a couple League of Legends statues. I'm sure they'll find more use out of it.
Right. Yeah.
I say that saying I know I don't know, $500 doesn't sound right for at least nowadays for engagement ring, but I'm also chronically single, so I don't know anything. So um anyway, so yeah, these are the statues. I'm trying to think of what's next. I don't know why I keep trying to guess. We're just gonna move on to the next slide. Oh, that's right. That's right. These are the source books, the guidebooks.
Well, this should have actually been in the comic book section. This is the
Oh,
first 50 issues of GI Joe.
fun fact: Caleb doesn't know what the word compendium means.
No, this is another of those like big phone book collections.
Okay.
Robert Kirkman, his company's got the rights to GI Joe Transformers, so this is the first collection they are releasing, and then Transformers will be out later this year.
So does Robert? You said Robert Kirkman owns the rights. Like, does he own the rights to the comic books of GI Joe?
Yeah, I mean that's his company, Skybound, that's doing the relaunch.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest. Whenever it comes to like multimedia
Mhm.
franchises such as GI Joe or Star Wars, I actually don't really know how the licensing works because like there's some stuff from Dark Horse Star Wars that still hasn't been printed yet from Marvel, and I assume it's just because there's a rights issues with those things being reprinted. So
Oh, really? I thought they had printed everything. Okay. Um, yeah.
they may have it now. I might be behind.
Yeah. Yeah. So they they've relaunched everything with Void Rivals and Transformers and GI Joe, but they're also continuing Larry Hama's run on GI Joe, and now they're reprinting these. I have most of the individual volumes. I am missing like volume 1 and 2, and I think 15. Um, so this is tempting for me to pick up if I didn't have the individual volumes. I'm kind of waiting to see if someone sells their individual volumes now that this is out, because a lot of these are really hard to find. So this is all getting back in print, and these are really cool. I forgot to put Gargoyles on the list. They've been reprinting a lot of their trades also. So if you're wanting to get into that, their trades are also out there. But yeah, there was a time this was like Marvel's best-selling book for a while. So, or one of their best-selling books back during the 80s. Some of these stories are really great. So
Gnarly, gnarly. So now we move on to source books.
there we go.
So I'll be honest. I had trouble finding decent enough pictures for both of these.
That's fine. I've got both of these from the library right now. I have not started the Marvel book. I'm about halfway through the DC book.
So what is it? Like a history book or something like that?
So it's almost like, hey Caleb, I've hired you to write DC Comics, and you're like, I know nothing about DC, and I hand you a book and says, here, read this, and you will understand how our universe works. So like it started out with like the creation of the universe, all the timeline reboots. It's gone through
So
like
does it
like how the source wall works, and how like the speed force works, and how
tell things chronologically or publication wise?
no, it is neither. It's kind of like in categories. Like it's like, okay, here's how the major powers work. Now I'm getting into how the heroes and villains work, and then it's going to go into how space works and this and that. So it doesn't tell you everything, but it's a good jumping off point. Like it doesn't tell you every Batman. Like going to like if you want that, get a character encyclopedia. But it'll say, "Oh, Batman fights Professor Pig," and I'm like, if I didn't know who Professor Pig was, now I have a name though to go Google it or go look it up. Like it'll tell you like these are major foes of Flash or whatever. But it DC is a confusing mess if you're a new person. They have had so many reboots and where they've restarted their universe stuff, and it doesn't go like into extreme detail all the time. Like I just read about Black Lightning, who a character I don't know much about, and it's like, well, the usual story is this, da, 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 da. And it says, well, sometimes the story is this, da, 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 so it'll kind of fill you in. But I'm learning lots of stuff I did not know. Like I didn't know that in one of the reboots that Supergirl's dad became Cyborg Superman. I was like, where's Hank Henshaw?
You didn't? Okay, gotcha. I think that was a Rebirth, I think.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, and so then I go Google that, So it's giving me stuff to. I love stuff like this that explains how things work, and I learned stuff that I didn't know. I'm really eager to get to the Marvel one. Like I said, I haven't started yet.
What if the Marvel one's like really boring? Like you already know all of it.
I highly doubt it. There's so much about Avengers I do not know.
Yeah.
The DC one though, it's pretty new because it keeps talking about the dark metals and Perpetua and all this stuff.
Okay, yeah.
About Wonder Woman, spoilers, saving the day. Da, da, da. So I mean, it's going into details about that stuff, and yeah, these are kind of books I really like. That I'm a sucker for those character encyclopedias, but these that I've found are really cool. I don't know if you've also included. They have Star Wars ones, Star Trek. These are next on my list. I know the library has them to go check them out, and I think the Star Trek one gets into Picard, but it doesn't get the later seasons. Probably like it probably came out before that.
So from what I could tell, there was the yellow. So this one is obviously. Um, I don't know how you rank them. I just know that this is like Spock and McCoy's shirt. I don't know if the colors have significance or anything.
This is science officer. Yeah.
Okay, so the science officer cover. This is the new edition. Yellow, the captain. That was the yellow one's the old edition. So this is the updated version.
Gotcha. Okay. Yellow was in the old days was commander, then became engineering and security in the later years. And switched.
Okay.
Red became captain. So
is it because they were sick of the red shirt joke?
I don't know why they changed it on Next Generation, but maybe it just looked better on camera. I don't know because Picard was going to be the main focus. So
maybe like yellow is just not Patrick Stewart's color. Like that's why they never gave him the yellow wheelchair in X-Men either. Like he just does not care for yellow.
I don't know. That's a great. I'll have to look that up. Why they changed it? It's a good question. I'm sure there's an answer out there.
He's secretly a Green Lantern, and it's his weakness.
Yeah, I'm curious about the Star Wars book. Does it go into Legends or not? I don't know. I will.
That is an interesting question.
That's my jam. Is Legends. So
right, and so, but the thing is there also is at this point we're. Oh my God, we're 10 years basically into the Disney canon that at this point, I think there's already enough to necessitate its own source book too. So who knows which one this could be?
Right. Yeah. So
let's see. I'm trying to think if you had any more source books or... Oh yeah, you had this one.
I also got this from the library. I've flipped through it. I haven't gone in depth. This is pretty cool. It goes like 1961. These were the major books that came out this year. Major characters introduced, but then it'll have like a little sidebar that says, "And here's what was happening in the real world when this was happening." JFK was shot or So you can kind of see. Here's the stories they're telling, but here's what was going on in the real world at the same time. So I thought that was really cool from a history perspective.
If they wanted to be like really honest about it, and I'm gonna go ahead and be honest about it on air, come at me. You'd be like, and 9/11 happened this month, which is why the issues started sucking for the next couple months.
Yeah, this is why Dr. Doom was crying, and
it's the worst issue I've ever seen.
It's
I was going through. I think I was like 17 or 18 going through Marvel Unlimited for the first time, reading JMS's Spider-Man, and that issue comes out of nowhere.
It does, and it's weird because 9/11 was a very tragic event, especially for those who were alive during it and either lost loved ones or watched it on the TV or whatever. But a skyscraper getting blown up in the comic book world or people dying, it happens like all the time.
Yeah.
And so for there to just be this issue where if you haven't read the issue, it's like a chaotic reaction of the heroes were too late to stop 9/11 and everybody's trying to like pay their respects or rescue people, and like Dr. Doom shows up and starts crying, and I was like, what is happening?
And Magneto is like saving humans.
Yeah, like if there was like again, we're not trying to make light of 9/11, but if
no. Here's the
thing. We're pointing out how silly this issue was.
Right. What we are pointing out, because I think it's interesting to go back and see how, because there are other things. 9/11 itself, never forget. It is a tragedy, is an important point in our country's history. But it is interesting to go and look back at like people's attempt to honor it and how out of touch and in poor taste it was.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And like you say about Magneto, like if there was like an office for mutants or something in the building or something, it would have made more sense. But there were better attempts by Marvel. They did like a story about firefighters and stuff, and some other collections and stuff. But that Amazing Spider-Man issue is just wild and
Yeah.
weird. And
Yeah. You think about it, JMS, man, I love his run, but he had a rough run too.
a lot of that is you can look at all the great Spider-Man runs, not counting Stan Lee's, but a lot of them got screwed over by editorial at some point.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating. But I can't think of a run where editorial hasn't screwed it up. So, yeah, but this is really cool. I'm sure there's a DC one. I didn't look, but and I think this is like they've updated this one, so it's pretty cool. And I've been flipping through it, and it's got a lot of cool information in it.
I recognize some of these. Like this is from Bendis's Daredevil.
Is that Bendis or Kevin Smith's?
Bendis just came right after Kevin Smith's.
Okay, because that kind of looks like Quesada's Daredevil.
Quesada's Daredevil has a bigger chest.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, this, and then we have I think this is Priest's Black Panther, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, and then I can never remember who wrote this Scarlet Witch run, but I've actually never read the run. I own all the issues just because I love the covers. Like the covers of these Scarlet Witch issues are so cool. Like it's like Sin City, but so much more red because it's Scarlet Witch. It's great. But yeah,
I know that Human Torch issue is like the first Marvel comic up there.
Oh, okay.
I think, and then he fought Namor at some points. That's probably what the Namor is on the top left, or at least one of those early Captain America books or Invaders books or something.
I'm fairly certain that this Black Widow is Ultimate.
I don't know. Maybe. So anyhow,
and then Shang-Chi is here. Even though, let's be honest, I don't think anybody really heard of Shang-Chi before the movie. I didn't.
I was aware of Shang-Chi, but every time he showed up, I was like, "Who is this guy?" That will be one of the runs I'm going to check out on Marvel Unlimited at some point.
I mean, even before the movie came out, I just remember seeing a Shang-Chi Marvel Legends figure, and I'm like, "What's up with Liu Kang? What's he doing here?"
Yeah, he's a interesting character. So, anyhow, let's move on.
So, for my source book, we have the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Ultimania. For those of you who don't know, let me try to explain this. So, you know how Legend of Zelda, they came out with like Hyrule Historia and like that trilogy of books, and then Breath of the Wild had like the Creating a Champion book.
Yes.
Final Fantasy has that for every game, and they're called Ultimanias. Okay. So all the way back to the first one, every single Final Fantasy game has an Ultimania. If you ever listen to Maximilian, dude, do his theories on where the remake series is going for Final Fantasy VII, a lot of the evidence actually comes from the wording that is used in the remake Ultimania, the Integrate Ultimania, Reunion Ultimania, and then this came out in April, obviously April 12th, 24. And then there's actually another Rebirth Ultimania. That's the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Material Ultimania. I don't actually know what is going to be in that because it doesn't come out until the 27th. But come December 27th, us Final Fantasy VII nerds are going to have a whole lot more information to go off of to see how this trilogy might end up ending. But I just put the Rebirth one because it's the most recent one. But if you've got a Final Fantasy nerd and their favorite Final Fantasy game is like Final Fantasy 9 or 12, there's an Ultimania for that as well. The older they get, obviously the more expensive they may end up being, because they're only in print for as long as the game is relevant. But yeah. Oh, and they have Kingdom Hearts Ultimanias as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah. So that is that is me talking about Final Fantasy VII, as I always do.
Yeah, which I have very limited knowledge of the Final Fantasy series, so I just sit here and nod.
Yeah. But we're getting into our last category, which is why is Lego so expensive? We're transitioning from this game to a different game. I didn't know this one existed. We got this little Pac-Man thing.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool.
Now, how does it work? Like, it's just something you put together? I see there's a crank over here. Like, does this actually, like...
You can make Pac-Man move through the maze and stuff by cranking it. And
that's so cool.
I think the... what is it? The title bar, whatever the title thing. I think it flips around. I think there's another picture on the back, if I recall. It's been a while since I've seen this, but...
Oh, the marquee. Gotcha.
Marquee, yeah. But yeah, this is... I mean, it's pricey, but if you're, they've got some really cool video game Lego sets. They got the Atari. I almost picked the Atari I just picked this one instead because I don't think everybody knows about this one.
I did, yeah.
There's a Nintendo one.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they make Mario Legos look so weird?
I think that was Miyamoto's choice. He wanted them to have some type of innovation. And I hate them. I would kill for some good Mario minifigures. And...
So I want you to put a pin in that, and then we're going to circle back to that because mine is going to relate to that. I think that should tell you what mine is.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this seems super cool. It would, it'd be super super dope if like they had like other machines. Like I feel like a Galaga machine would be really cool.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the Atari one?
No. Let me pull it up.
It's got I think it has like a little centipede guy on there, and like there's some different games you can like you build the cartridges.
Oh, it's just the machine itself.
Yeah. There's a similar Nintendo one like that where it has a TV where Mario moves on the TV.
I have seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But this Atari one I see a lot at Target.
Let's see. So we got that.
Let's see if we can pull them up here.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and it's got like you can see it. The console is opening. It's like a living room that pops up.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and it's got like the little. You can see the back. There's like the little organizer for you to put the cartridges into, and then it's got little dioramas for each of the games that you build. So asteroids and centipede and stuff.
So honestly, centipede and asteroids, I think those are like. I mean, of course, adventure's a really funny pick.
That's a freaking duck here.
That duck ate both my pixels. Oh man, we didn't even. I think so. We first played Adventure through like whenever they had like those Jack's Pacific plug and plays.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until then that we realized what he was talking about. That duck ate both my pixels.
Yeah, I had Atari. I had Adventure. I remember that when I was 5. Yeah, that duck.
What? Was it? Were they trying to make it a dragon?
It's supposed to be a dragon. Yeah.
Man. You know what it is? It's just
we're talking about Strong Bad and Homestar Runner. If you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. It was Baby Strong Bad, I think.
Yeah.
That, um,
Somebody
yellow
get this
was
freaking duck away from me.
somebody get this freaking duck away from me. uh, Yellow was just an unfortunate color to make that.
Well, it was, yeah. The Atari's
I
very limited what
yeah,
colors it can show. So
I I even if you made it purple, because Atari could do purple as well, because that's the opposite of yellow. If they made it purple, I don't think people would have called it a duck. But like you made it look like a duck, and then you made it yellow, like that's a duck.
I don't think most of us at the time even knew. Most of us were playing these on black and white TVs, so it was
Oh,
fine. I didn't even notice it was yellow duck when I was a kid because I was just,
it was
yeah.
just a gray duck.
It was always like, oh, you got Atari, kid? Yeah, well, you got this. We got this old black and white TV. You can hook it up to. You can't hook it up to the living room TV, but we have this black and white TV you could use. So it got to be on channel 3. So
So
the 80s. Yeah, I say that to some kids. They're like, black and white TV. What the heck are you talking about?
black, yeah, that's. Oh, I was about to say something real bad.
Let's move on, Caleb.
I know. Honestly, it's not that bad. I think it's worse if I don't say it, but I'm just not going to say it. But it's actually not that bad. But we're going to move on anyway.
I think it's cool. This Lego set has the little quarter slot at the bottom too.
Oh, that is fun. I like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
What's going on over here? Like I like the Pac-Man and the Ghost, but I don't know what it's supposed to represent.
I think it may hook onto the top and it spins around. Maybe I can't remember. It's been a while since I've looked at the set. So
okay.
But yeah, this is pretty dope.
Right. So the last thing on our list of why is Lego so expensive, I want you to think of the question again. Why does Mario Lego look so weird?
Yeah.
Because this is perfect.
Oh,
this is perfect.
Yeah, I forgot this was out.
Yeah, so we have a Lego store at the Oxmoor Center.
Mm-hmm.
I met my Nana and Papa for lunch there for my birthday, and we finished up lunch, and I was like, you know what, we got a Lego store. I want to see if they have it. They have it. It's $300. I want it really bad.
Does how is your Lego store? Do you just walk in and?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So ever since COVID down here, and I haven't been lately, but the last few times I've been, there's like a line you have to get into because they only let so many people in the store at one time. And it's a long line.
That definitely sounds like during COVID, maybe all the way up until 2022. I don't think I've had anything like that since 2022.
Yeah, I mean, I understood during COVID that, yeah, okay, fine. But like even the last year I went and I was like,
it's 2024.
I went like, why is there a line? And so I haven't been inside a Lego store in a while because I'm like, I'm not waiting that stupid line. Yeah, they've also got a really cool Piranha Plant set.
Yep, I've seen that one too.
And that one's a little bit more. I think that one's less than 100, so a little bit more reasonable. But the Legos are expensive.
This one I kind of get. Because
there's a lot going into this one.
Well, there's a lot going into this one, and it's a 2-in-1 because on the cover here we've got the Great Deku Tree from Breath of the Wild. We've got Breath of the Wild Link. We got Breath of the Wild Zelda with the Sheikah slate. We've got Mr. Maraca Man over there to give you more shelf space. But you can also like build it a different way. And you can make the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time. And then because you made the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time, you have pieces left over to make Kid Link's house where you started at the beginning of the game.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I think obviously there's like a Young Link minifig and I think there's a Navi as well. But yeah, I don't know why more I don't know why more Lego sets don't do like a 2-in-1 or 3-in-1. I feel like that's like I understand the idea of the master builder in the Lego movie that you would be able to take anything and make it anything, but like out of the box you could have like two or three ways to build something.
They do have the creator sets that are like 20-30 bucks, where it's like you could build a parrot or a squirrel or this or that. They'll have like 3 different instructions in there. You decide which one you want to build. So they do have some of those, but I'm sure those are a pain to figure out. What
Yeah.
else can I build with these blocks? The same blocks. So
You said a parrot or a squirrel, and I'm just thinking that's either a really brown parrot or a really colorful squirrel.
really colorful squirrel. Yep.
But yeah, this is something that so what my mom likes to do with us is I don't know where she got this. She probably got this off of a Pinterest thing, but we've been doing it for several years now. The 4 of us as a family, something you want, something you need, something to wear, and something to read. And so that's how we make our lists. And I just threw this in the something you want just to see because my mom freaked out, and I thought it was really funny. But yeah, this would be like, it's the Lego movie where because I was not really a kid when it came out, but I was still maybe like 16 or 17 when it came out, something like that. And the bad guy, Will Ferrell, he's like, no, I'm going to glue these down.
Craggle, Lord Businessman. Yeah.
I gotta say, seeing something like this, I get it.
Well, you see those pictures of someone let a 4-year-old in my room, and there's just a pile of broken Legos all on the floor. They destroyed all their stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, this would be this. I would hate to be like that dad or that grandpa, because I had not that dad, but I definitely had a couple grandpas that had like toy collections, like Tonka trucks or stuff like that. That like I'd get yelled at if I got anywhere near. And so if I got this, I would become that, and I'm like, I shouldn't do it. That's a dark path. So we'll see what happens. If I end up getting it, I'll become an old man.
Yeah.
Yo, this is for adults only, 18 plus. Hubba.
Whoa.
You know what?
It's because the little maraca player.
I was gonna say it's because they made Zelda accurate to the game.
Or the flower scene. Yeah,
the flower scene. Oh man.
So is this the end of the list?
Yep.
Because I actually added one more in the chat, and I think you missed it. So I'm gonna pull that one up.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I don't.
This is the DC versus Marvel omnibus, and they're also doing the amalgam collection, I think, next month. So
I didn't realize this already came out.
Yeah, so these are the classic crossovers, and then the big Marvel versus DC crossover, and the amalgam stuff will be the one that comes out next month. This is one of those things that if you want this, get it now, because this probably won't happen again for another 20 years where the Marvel and DC agree to reprint all this stuff. So yeah, I was actually surprised this came out at all. So
you just made me think of one. Hold on.
Okay. But if you don't know, Marvel and DC have, like, they used to do crossovers, like, once every 5 years or so. Like, you'd have a Spider-Man meet Superman, or Batman teams up with the Punisher, I think it was. I think that's, and then there's a classic Captain America Batman story where Joker and Red Skull team up until Joker finds out about Red Skull's past, and then turns on Red Skull. Lots of fun. Where he's like, I might be crazy, but I am an American, So
I do remember that. That's a lot of. I remember that one. Yeah. Um, so let me ask this, because I am not familiar with like the actual like storyline or amalgam. Does the storyline of this lead into amalgam?
So not this. This is the classic stuff. The other book that's what they did, the Marvel versus DC. I think it was a 4-issue miniseries. That one, I think in issue 3, what it is there's two universes that are fighting each other for survival, and one's the Marvel universe, one's the DC universe, and they're both one's about to wipe out the other universe. Like whichever one wins will wipe out the other one. So I think to stop it, they combine Captain America together with Batman, I want to say, and it creates the amalgam universe. So what happened when the issues were coming out, all of a sudden after issue 3, both companies stopped publishing comic books and just released amalgam comic books for that month. And then at the end of that, they fixed it and then went back to issue 4. And then both companies started printing comic books again.
Okay.
So amalgam takes place between issues 3 and 4. So
okay,
if I recall, this has been a while, but it was something like that, where to save the universe, they merged them together. Then at the end, they unmerged them, and then they end up sparing the losing universe, which was DC lost. So it was a fan vote. The fans voted, and DC got whooped. Some of the fights I totally disagree with, like Superman defeats Hulk, and I was kind of like, I don't know. The madder Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. So eventually, but
well, so that's an interesting thing, because they did a similar thing in Death Battle. They did the Goku versus Superman thing.
Yeah.
And I think Goku and the Hulk are very similar in the fact that they just keep getting stronger, and they're essentially the question that Death Battle poses is who would win, a person who is constantly breaking through limits, or a person who has no limits to begin with. Because Superman has no limits to begin with, but then like the Hulk and Goku, at that they're just constantly breaking through limits.
And the thing about Hulk and Goku, when they get defeated, they come back stronger.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I'm not saying Superman wouldn't win the first round, but I'm saying Hulk will win the last round.
Right.
One of the cool crossovers that's in this book that I'm wanting to read, and this is on my Christmas list, so hopefully I'll get it. At the bottom there, you can see the Teen Titans versus X-Men, and this was back during the '80s when both of these runs were red hot. The Chris Claremont X-Men run, and then
Marv
Teen Titans, Marv Wolfman stuff. So that's a story I've always wanted to read. So that's collected here. So, yeah.
Terra versus Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
So we'll make this our last one. But when you said this is a get it while you can thing,
Mm-hmm.
I got another one. Get it while you can. The Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, the physical copies, the Switch version, and there's a PS4 version. You can get it on Steam. However, at that point, we are just back to where we were 10 years ago, where
yeah, for those who don't know, if you buy things digitally, they can take them away from you when the license expires. And that is what happened on, I guess it was the PS3, PS4 with the Marvel versus Capcom games.
Yeah. Now, if you owned it, you could still play it. You just couldn't delete it, or you'd never get it back.
Yeah. So this is a physical copy collection. Does this have the it probably doesn't. It doesn't have the latest one on here, does it?
It goes all the way up to 2. So it does not have 3. It doesn't have Ultimate 3, and it doesn't have Infinite. So it has the Punisher beat 'em up arcade game with Nick Fury, and then it has Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, um, Marvel vs. Capcom, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Cool. Yeah,
Surprisingly, games play a lot different. So it's not like you're not just buying this for you. Maybe you are just buying this for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but you're gonna get way more than that.
yeah, and these are a lot of those fun arcade games that that are just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is our list. Let us know what we missed. There's so much cool stuff out there. It's not like when I was a teenager and it was like a wasteland for geek stuff. It is, the world has changed, and if you've got the disposable income, embrace it. If not, pay your bills instead. But
Let me ask you this, because there's this video game YouTube YouTuber and streamer that I like, Arshin Gaia, the Lore Runner. He's kind of underground. I would not be surprised if no one's heard of him. But so essentially, he does a lot of like analysis videos, but it's less analysis and more like off the cuff analysis. Like he has notes, but not really a script. But he's very well spoken. He was talking about Majora's Mask in one of his videos, and how he did not really play Majora's Mask until much later, because when Majora's Mask came out, that was around the time where like finding new video games was difficult. Is that accurate? Do you resonate with that at all?
finding new video games, like
Yeah, like they weren't just N64 and Super Nintendo. Like they weren't as prevalent in department stores as they are now, and you didn't really have places.
I don't. Maybe in other countries, I don't remember that being an issue. Like I feel like video games were sold in more spots when I was a kid. Like Sears would sell them and stuff. There were.
Well, Sears doesn't exist at all now.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. There were
Yeah.
there were we had Toys R Us, but I guess if you didn't live around a Toys R Us or a mall, and maybe that Walmart was a bit of a drive, then maybe it was harder, and then you were just stuck with whatever Walmart had. I
Yeah.
could see that. I mean, I remember like Chibi Robo, you couldn't find the obscure titles. Sure, you can't find it as easy. So I could see that.
Okay. Actually, so to cap that off, the reason for his story was part of the reason for his story was he was telling the story about how he actually worked at a store that that actually did end up having Majora's Mask. I think he actually worked at a Toys R Us or something like that. But they had like the demo version on display, if you've seen that. And so like he was playing one time, and he's like, you know what? I wonder what happens if I just let the timer reach 0. Like, what's gonna happen? And then the world is destroyed. And he's like, like he goes throughout his shift, and he keeps checking on the game, and then by the end, the world is destroyed. He's like, huh, that's actually pretty cool.
Majora's Mask, if you've never played it, what's really cool is not just that the world is ending, but people's personalities change throughout the 3 days. And you can go to almost any character and watch as they start to freak out more and more as the world is ending. I think Majora's Mask is so underrated. I think it's just the things that, it's only 4 dungeons. Sure, there's limitations, but there's so many cool things in Majora's Mask, and it's just the little details that are, it's great.
And I think we all have our own favorite side stories. I think mine is Malin and her older sister. I don't know her name in the game, but it's the Malin character model, so I just call her Malin. But yeah, Malin and her older sister, and how like she's like, tonight's going to be the night that I let you drink alcohol, and I want you to do it in the house with me, okay? And it's not a celebration. It's not a celebration. It's so that way she doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah,
when
so
the
she'll
moon
fall asleep when the moon hits. Yeah, I mean that game
comes.
is rough, man.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
that's the
awesome.
mission where you have to save the cows from being abducted by aliens.
Yeah,
Like that, it's such a wacky game.
yeah, it's
Um,
it's one of the greats. But if you've
Majora's
got it,
Mask on 3DS, you can get.
yeah, Majora's Mask. I'm sure it's on Nintendo Online. Go
Oh
play
yeah,
it.
it is too. Yeah.
I'll throw in a last one. Balatro. I've put in almost 150 hours into that game, and I'm still playing it.
I only heard of it from you, and I thought it was just one of those weird games. Like, he's found another weird, wacky game that he's playing. Who's ever heard of that? And now it's nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah, and I think it's on phones now. You get it, so it's if you like card games and roguelites and all that type of stuff, it's addicting. So, all right. Well, if we forgot something, please post it down below. Share this with your list. If you're trying to give someone hints about what you want, send them this video. So, but until next time, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We'll catch you next time in the Shark Pond.
See ya.